Thank you for joining us today. Would like to also thank the Wisconsin Association, Counties Association for having us on the phone today to talk about our Pear.ai services. We are a small group this morning, so if you would like to introduce yourselves, just from what county you might be and what pain points utility management might be causing you, I just want to open it up for anyone who'd want to talk a little bit about who they are and where they're from, just to understand who's on the phone call today.
I can start really quick. I'm Andrea Treader from the association. I'm a program manager here in Madison, and very excited that you guys are here to learn about Pear.ai from our partners at Constellation. So if there's any other follow-up questions, like Ranjan said, you can send them on through. I'm happy to help facilitate any meetings or connections to facilitate that after this. If you have further questions or need help or guidance, these guys are experts, so enjoy.
Great, thank you, Andrea. Someone else that's joined.
Hey, Ron, John, this is Jay Kroll. Good morning, everyone. I am a gas business development manager here in the state of Wisconsin. I help clients like Wood County, among others, manage their natural gas costs from a commodity perspective. Appreciate you all joining us today. We're pretty excited to talk about Pear.ai. I work with Ranjan in other capacities, Pear.ai being one of them. So we're excited to have you guys on the call today, and I'll be around afterwards for questions.
Great, thank you. If there's anyone else who'd like to introduce themselves? All right. So if anyone does have any questions through the presentation, there's a chat function within the chat if you'd like to ask any questions throughout the presentation. So my name is Ranjan Ezra. A little bit about myself. I've been in the energy industry for about 16 years now. Been at Constellation for about 13, with background in risk management, commodities management, and more specifically right now around sustainability and data analytics, helping our customers understand their holistic utility footprint as well as their sustainability needs. At Constellation, there's a wide variety of services we can provide to our customers as well as our county members and municipalities. Today, specifically, you'll be talking about analytics and reporting. However, if there's other topics you'd like to discuss, please reach out to a Constellation member or Andrea, and then we can let you know how else we can help you. With that, jumping into our presentation today, we'll be talking about data analytics. As we've started talking to a lot of our customers, one thing that we've heard time and time again is understanding their utility footprint is becoming a little more of an arduous task. And the three buckets that customers have brought up repeatedly to us are energy reporting, budget and financial analysis, and sustainability and benchmarking. When it comes to energy reporting, a lot of the questions they have is how can I bring all my utility information into one place? Are my invoices accurate? I just don't have the time to look through each of my invoices to make sure the rates are correct, to make sure the line items are adding up. Sometimes there's a new line item on my bill. I have other tasks I deal with, and it's really hard to keep track from an energy reporting perspective. And given all my energy uses, am I capitalizing on the opportunities for cost savings when it comes to energy? Then as I think of budget and financial analysis, understanding my energy costs is the first step. But as I think about energy, what is my budget going to look like for the next year? Am I meeting my budget expectations month over month? Those are questions that have arisen from a lot of our customers. And then finally, sustainability and benchmarking. This is becoming a larger topic for a lot of our customers, especially around municipalities and counties, as they look to understand what their greenhouse gas footprint is, as well as understand what steps they can take to reduce their overall greenhouse gases. Now, to do all of this, it comes down to data analytics. Do you have all your data to make these decisions that can drive your county to be more sustainable and help to reduce costs? This is where our Pear.ai platform comes in. Pear.ai is a reporting and analytics platform that gives you the holistic view of your sustainability as well as utility footprint. We do this in various steps. The first step is the way we bring in data. So we know as counties, you have multiple different utilities from gas, water, electric, sewer, heating, cooling. We could bring all of those invoices within the Pear platform. We're able across all 50 states. So we modeled multiple different types of utilities. So no matter the type of utility you may have, we can work with you to digest that information within the Pear platform. Now, once we have all your data, we then move into our utility bill management module. At this point, we do a 60-point data validation check on all of your invoices. So this looks at month-over-month variations. May one month you're using, 100 kWh, and the next month you're using 200. That's 100% increase. We would notify you on those increases. Maybe there's a new line item on your bill that you didn't expect. So we'd notify you of those ones. But there's over 60 different checks that we do on your invoices to make sure they're accurate and the information there presented is correct. We can also standardize the view of all your invoices. So when it comes to utility bills, we know a gas bill, a water bill, an electric bill all look very different. And having the ability to understand and view them in the same format is really important. And finally, when it comes to paying bills, multiple bills, multiple invoices, multiple utilities can be cumbersome to pay bills. We can streamline that process by creating what we call an account payables file. In the account payables files, any general ledger codes you may have or any department codes you may need, we can work with you to create a spreadsheet which we can give to your AP departments to then pay your bills on time. Reporting and analytics, there's a wide variety of reports and visualizations we can provide to you within our platform, which I will go over in this presentation. And then finally, when it comes to sustainability, we have the ability to track your Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions. We could look for areas of efficiency by benchmarking various locations against each other. And finally, if Energy Star is a requirement for your county to have, we have integrated with the EPA's Energy Portfolio Manager system to allow for one system for enabling reporting overall. So there are different facets of Pear to help you based on your needs, and I look forward to kind of talking with you later on to understand what those pain points are and those needs are as well. As we break down the buckets, the first one I want to touch upon is the energy reporting. So as I talked a little bit, some of the pain points a lot of our customers have when it comes to energy reporting is bringing all your bills into one place and to understand if they're accurate. Here you could see some of the examples of some of the errors that we've found and some of the time savings we've had across the board when it comes to utility reporting. The first one is we had a property manager who received a bill, a water bill, and it was extremely high. And using the Pear system, they noticed month over month their water bill was increasing. And we actually did catch an error where instead of getting a $1,600 water bill, they actually got a $160,000 water bill instead. So granted, that error was pretty glaring, but there are multiple different errors of this sort we can find. Also, from an account payables perspective, because we're bringing all the data from multiple websites and utilities into one place, it does provide some time savings in data gathering to enable you to then pay your bills a little more streamlined. And when it comes to looking at different facilities, you can also start to benchmark different locations against each other to give you the view of what like buildings are there and what like buildings might have a similar energy footprint. Here you can also track all your utility spend based on a year to budget or however you track your overall budget spend from a year-to-year perspective. When it comes to budgeting and financial analysis, we do take a deeper dive to understand your usage and to understand what the next year might bring. Having historical data in the system allows us to then forecast out based on any outliers. Do you want to make it as conservative a forecast as possible? Do you want to include the outliers or exclude the outliers? So there are different parameters within the system that you can utilize to help forecast your next year's budget from a usage perspective. From a pricing view, if you think energy prices are rising, you could enter an escalation of year-over-year price changes to give you the view of what your next year price projections might be. Here in this example, you can see, a view of month-to-month changes from consumption to unit cost to charges. So if you think your consumption is increasing year over year, this gives you a view of is that actually happening? And as you think about unit costs from an electricity perspective, gas or water, are those rates rising or are they falling? Both of those components are really important when it comes down to your overall charges. So here you can see a really quick example of how you can monitor and keep track of your spend across all your different sites. And finally, as we think about sustainability and benchmarking, understanding what your scope 1 and scope 2 greenhouse gases are is important when understanding your emissions. Scope 1 is the amount of emissions you produce on site or at locations that you have. And scope 2 is the type of energy that you're purchasing, and is it a green product. We can provide you benchmarking from year-over-year looking views to understand, is your greenhouse gases reducing over time? Is it increasing over time? Or even focus on locations where you might target to reduce emissions overall. Energy Star is becoming a larger conversation in some of the East Coast cities here, but if it's becoming more of a conversation around your counties as well, we do provide integration into EPA to give you a benchmarking score to see how efficient a building is. Energy Star is an EPA platform which looks at like resources and provides a score. And if you're above 75 points, your building tends to be a little bit more efficient than others. So it's a good way to understand how you rank and where you look for it from a sustainability and efficiency standpoint. With that, I'm going to jump into our platform. If there's any questions, again, please type it in the chat, or if you're experiencing any pain points when it comes to utility management, more than happy to answer those questions. As I move into the platform, Pear.ai is a cloud-based system, which means that you can access it from anywhere. Whether you're working on site at your location, if you are working from home that day, or you're on the go. So it is also mobile friendly. So if you are, you could add a bookmark to your mobile device to kind of get very similar information as well. Here, we'll go through our demo account. I'll touch on the key features, which might help you manage your day-to-day as well as utility expenses. To give you a view, and again, I encourage questions that you may have as you think about your county and some of the pain points you may have. The first thing I'll go over is Sam, which is our virtual energy expert. You'll be asked 3 simple questions, such as how much was my bill, my account number, as well as my most expensive location. If I click on how much my bill was, it'll ask you for what location, for what time period. And from here, you can see in 3 simple clicks from an electricity perspective, you can see how much your bill and invoice was for the month of March. I can also click in on a certain number and it'll give you a detailed view of the bill. You can also compare to previous months to give you a view of how your charges might have changed from a month-to-month perspective. So in simple clicks, without having looking through databases or spreadsheets or paper invoices, you can gather the information required to help you understand your utility spend. From here, I'm going to dive into analytics. Analytics drives a lot of the conversation around understanding your facilities, understanding your locations, and giving you a better view of the landscape of the county. First up, if I look at the summary tab, here I could see, my total spend from January 2021 to April 2022, the number of utilities, the locations, the service account, as well as meters, how much each of those utilities individually cost as well. So if I just wanted to understand from a financial year 2021 what my total spend was, I can select the date range, and it'll give you for 1 year what your total spend was by each of utility. You could also see variations charges from year over year to give you an understanding, are your costs and charges increasing? As well as a breakdown of how much you spend across your different utilities. How much is electric to your overall budget? How much is your gas, relatively speaking, and giving you all those views. At the bottom, there are multiple tabs that you will go through. I'm going to touch upon 3 of which are a lot of our customers from townships and municipalities have liked using to give them better conversations as far as justifications for process improvement and energy efficiency improvement. The first one I click on is going to be called our weather sensitivity tab. We bring in 10 years worth of data within the platform, which will give you a view of how weather sensitive a location might be. So the closer it is to 1, the more weather sensitive a location is. The closer it is to 0, the more weather agnostic you are. Now, this is important. So if you are doing upgrades from a Windows perspective, installations view, targeting locations which might be more weather sensitive to make them a little bit more weather agnostic. So weather is not driving your overall utility spend and cost and driving costs that way. And I could also compare like buildings against each other. So if I had, for example, multiple, I'm going to use classrooms in this case, I could see which classrooms here are probably more weather dependent compared to others, which might drive the conversation around what is different in these locations across the board. If I think about it from an administration office perspective, understanding, here I have site 72, which is really weather dependent, but I have site 60, which is not as weather dependent. So this could start to drive conversation and thought around, do we need to do more installation or think about how we spend energy at certain sites compared to other sites? From here, I'm going to click on our energy consumption tab. And this is an important tab because what we heard from some of our customers is it's really hard to compare like resources when the units are very different. So when I think about electricity, all of those units are generally in kWh. As I think about gas, it's generally in therms. If I think about oil, mostly in dollars per gallon. So when I think about how energy intensive a location might be, whether I use propane, oil, natural gas, it's very hard for me to understand just given the different units. So within the Pear.ai platform, what we have done is we convert everything to dollars per MMBTU to give you a better view of how efficient your resources might be. So here we can see from a resource perspective that you have natural gas all the way to oil. Oil burns $451 per MMBTU compared to natural gas at $2.56. Now, this is just an example. We know natural gas prices are rising definitely. So just want to kind of level set from a price and cost perspective. But here, every time I burn oil, I'm being charged $451 MMBTU versus natural gas or electric. So if I have an oil system, maybe it makes some sense to convert them more to electric or natural gas, or even to more propane in this example to drive any cost savings in that perspective. As I think about over the years, we kind of touched upon this slightly during the presentation, but here I could click on, for example, my electric spend, get an understanding of my consumption kWh month over month, year over year, look at it from a unit cost perspective as well as charges. So to think about it, are all my Junes operating the same? Are all my Julys operating the same year to year? It can give you a really good snapshot of your overall portfolio of locations and give you a view of what information you might need. The next that has come in handy for a lot of our municipalities and our county members has been charges versus consumption. So here you can start to see from a graph perspective outliers where some incidents might have happened, and you might question, gee, what did we do on a certain month that drove that change? So looking at electric, I can see there's one dot out here where for my site 98 on July 2020, my consumption was significantly higher, which drove my overall charges. Clicking on this dot, I can focus in on site 98 specifically, and I can see that truly was an outlier. So as I think about how I'm using electricity on this month specifically, did something change? Was there a cause for an event that drove higher usage in that month? It's something you could dig into and have more of an understanding, given that most of the time usage is in between 6 million to 10 million kilowatt hours. I can do the same type of analysis and thought process across all my various utilities that I have that's loaded up in the platform. So there's some quick tabs where a lot of our customers have found value when it comes down to decisions that they need to make around how they spend on their energy or other utilities that they may have. When it comes to finding errors, we do have a bill health report, which can highlight issues that you may have. So one of the tabs has been late fees. So under late fees, we can then see how much late fees do you have across the board. So this can give you a good view of all your data of the amount of late fees that you may be having within all your invoices. If I look at impacted locations over time, This will give you a view of which locations might have the most amount of invoice issues. So you can target that location, and if there are any problems, you might need to fix there. So here in this example, meter charges were above 83% higher than the prior bill. So what might have driven that change over there? From here, we have the sustainability option, which can give you the view around month over month, year over year changes from a sustainability view, from a scope 1 emission standpoint, scope 2 location based, as well as market based. As I think about areas of efficiencies, I think about market based. Are you buying green type products? This will give you a view of understanding your usage that way. One thing you'll notice under our locations, you could actually name each of your locations based on what you call it. I'm pretty sure none of you know each and every single account where you go, oh, my town hall, my building number, my account number is 456. A lot of us just don't know that. So you can actually name each account based on what it is used for overall. Another handy tool that a lot of our customers have liked is our search functionality. A lot of towns and cities might be tax exempt, so they want to make sure that they're not being taxed on their invoices. So from here, you could create what we call a bill line item report. You customize it. I could type in the word tax. Typing the word tax, I can hit apply, preview the report, and this will now give me a line item for every single location where tax might appear on my invoice. So if you were taxed incorrectly, it gives you an opportunity to then go back and find areas of refunds you may have. Or you might be doing energy efficiency upgrades, and that might be billed through an on-bill financing view. I can then create a report and look for every single line item the word energy efficiency appears. So you can then create customized reports for what you might need. One example, I was working with a township just the other day. They're planning to install solar on one of their fields, and the solar contractor asked for their utility bills or how much the usage for buildings were. And they were able to quickly pull together a monthly summary report of all their charges by consumption, unit costs, and overall to provide them to their solar provider there to understand, is this a right fit from a solar panel perspective? And they mentioned that they could not have done this before because they didn't have all their invoices in one place. So this provides additional efficiencies and process improvements across the board. I'm going to take a breather over there and see if there's any questions that I can answer based on the platform. It is user-friendly and has multiple other facets that I could go through, but I'd be curious to hear, or if you'd like to share on chat, any pain points you may have when it comes to utility management.
Hey, Ron, John, this is Jake.
Hey, Jake.
What I hear a lot from customers are the utility invoices that we get. There's so many of them. Are they accurate? Who's monitoring and fixing these errors? Usually that's a capacity that at this level, at the county level, they don't have that type of time. I mean, looking at countless invoices every month takes time. So obviously Pear.ai solves that pretty quickly. Who's analyzing trends to make strategic decisions about where to optimize or where can they use efficiency projects. Most of the time it's we're just putting data into a spreadsheet and then delivering it up the chain of command, or giving it to accounts payable for payables. There's typically not a lot of analysis that goes into what is this data telling us, and Pear.ai is just it's a platform that solves all these questions. Those are some of the pain points that I hear a lot from my customers.
Yeah, Jake, thank you for that. Yeah, I think understanding what your utility bills is and any errors on it is a big one. And our bill health report is a great way to find that, where you can see your wordings over time, how much meter changes you could filter by errors. So I want to look at any time where my meter usage is above 75%. So it gives you a graphical representation for when those issues might have transpired. Or I might want to see, overlap in service dates. but it gives you a quick drop down of any errors that you may want to find. Our errors are broken out into high, medium, and low, so you can kind of understand more specifically what some of those issues might be from a utility bill perspective. And if you ever wanted to go back into a bill, we have a bill tab over here with all of your invoices located here. I'm just going to click on the first one. All your invoices are broken out by each line item. Here you can see what some of the audits that we've done, as well as data verification. We have an activity history tracker to then, if you want to chat with a person on the other end to give you a view of what's actually happening at this account. And you could also download the physical PDF from these bills. So if you ever need to get audited, because we download each of the invoices and display them as PDF, you always have an audit trail and everything is online. Which brings me to another story I had from a customer, which was we had one county that was going from their utility gas provider, downloading bills from that view, then logging into their energy electric provider, downloading invoices there, then going to their water provider and getting invoices that way. So you can see there's 3 different touch points, 3 different vendors you need to go through to get those bills. Pear.ai provides more of a hands-free approach to that, where we would then do the data gathering on your behalf. And then you would all need to do is log into the Pear system, click on bills, search for either the billing ID or the vendor, and download that bill from this one site instead of going to 3 different sites that way. So with that, I'm going to move into my last few slides as I think about putting it all together. Municipality, multiple buildings as well as multiple facilities. Try to getting a handle of how much your utility spend is, areas for efficiency as I think of my multiple accounts. How do we kind of move forward? So as we think about tracking and validation, we want to track, understand where we are today. An anecdote someone told me was, if you're trying to lose weight, the first thing you want to do is understand where you are today. What is your current weight? So from a baseline perspective, understand what is your energy use today? Where am I going? What am I doing today to get an understanding of what I'm going to do tomorrow? So that's really important, generating your baseline. From here, are you tackling energy conservation measures to either lower your spend, manage overall costs? Are you also buying green type products? Are you trying to be more sustainable? What does your emissions look like? Then looking from changes from a scope 1, scope 2, or overall energy efficiency perspective and budgetary changes, understanding that, which then brings back to the cycle of, all right, now I've done all these things, let's monitor and understand what's happening and repeat the cycle to then look at other projects that can drive cost efficiencies across my overall spends. So it's going to be recursive. And one thing that's important about Pear is it's always going to be with you. So it's almost every single month there's going to be a run of an audit system. So you'll understand what's almost happening in real time based on your invoices. So with that, as I think about next steps when it comes down to Pear, I'd appreciate everyone joining the call today. If there's any questions, please let me know. But I'd like to schedule time with each one on the call today just to understand a little bit more about your specific pain points when it comes down to utility management. What are some of your goals that you have from a county perspective? How you set your budgets to then get a better understanding how Pear can help you. This will enable us to understand how many meters you have, the type of utilities you deal with, what you go through from a day-to-day perspective, how much time you spend going through your invoices and paying your bills. And then we can start to work through, understand at that point, onboarding, what it would take the Pear system to help you, and understand what kind of different packages might actually fit from a service perspective when it comes to our Pear system. Jake is also on the call from the commodities side, from the gas team, who I work with closely to understand some of your needs and wants. So you can also contact Jake as well. Or as Andrea mentioned, she's also available to facilitate or make introductions when it comes down to meeting with us and talking through some of the issues or problems you might have and how we could better support you on your day-to-day view. With that, if anyone has any questions or Andrea, if you want to, from a Wisconsin County's perspective, if you would like to add anything or close us out over here with any final comments or thoughts.
No, I think this is a very helpful presentation. I'm glad it's going to be recorded so we can circulate it afterwards. And like Ranjan and Jake said, we're here to help answer questions if anybody has any. So thanks for joining us.
Okay, if no one has any questions, thanks everyone for joining today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and the recording will be sent out later today or tomorrow. Thanks so much.
I have one other quick thing. This is Andrea from WCA. I just wanted to remind everyone that Constellation is going to be with us in the Kalahari this September for our WCA annual conference, and Jake will be there. So make sure you stop by the booth to get some more materials, ask questions, learn more, all kinds of good stuff. So thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Andrea. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.